स्किन का एक्सपर्ट।
Presidential poll results brings opposition divide out in the open again. From Assam to Madhya Pradesh, Congress MLAs cross vote for Draupadi Murmu. NSNIM likely to take call on peace interlocutors. Talk resumption invite by early next week, says sources. All eyes on key NSNIM decision. Big Northeast Live exclusive. Indian Air Force to join search operations to trace 19 Assam laborers missing in Arunachal Pradesh. Uncertainty looms over whereabouts of missing persons. Train services between Guwahati and Silchar resumes for the first time after devastating floods and landslides. Resumption of services comes as big relief to commuters. Tragic road mishap in Arunachal Pradesh claims lives of 4 tourists from Assam. Bodies recovered after 2 days of relentless search operations. And a third case of monkeypox detected in India. 35-year-old returning from UAE tests positive in Kerala. Hello and welcome to Evening Prime. I'm Ronak and we start the bulletin with the big story related to the Naga peace talks. Well, the NSNIM is likely to hold a crucial meeting early next week to take a call on whether to accept peace interlocutor A.K. Mishra's invite for resumption of talks. Highly placed sources said that the NSNIM will make its move on the talks invitation known after this key meeting. As per UDA Chairman T.R. Zeliang, interlocutor A.K. Mishra had personally dialed NSCN-IM General Secretary T.H. Muiva last week to extend the talks invitation. The core committee has also urged upon the NSCN-IM leadership to accept the invite. So that is, of course, the big development as far as the Naga peace talks are concerned. The NSCN-IM likely to hold a crucial meeting early next week to take a call on whether to accept peace interlocutor A.K. Mishra's invite for resumption of talks. Highly placed sources have said that the NSCN-IM will make its move on the talks invitation known after this key meet. As for UDA Chairman T.R. Zeliang, interlocutor Mishra had personally dialed NSCN-IM General Secretary T.H. Muiva last week to extend the talks invitation. The core committee has also urged upon the NSCN-IM leadership to accept the invitation. All right, and to bring us more details, I'm being joined now over the phone line by our editor-in-chief, Wasbir Hussain. Wasbir, a key NSCN meeting to take a call on interlocutor A.K. Mishra's talks invite likely to take place early next week. So all eyes will be on that crucial meeting, isn't it, Wasbir?
Well, this is the big breaking story this evening that the NSCN-IM is likely to meet next week. Sources are telling us that NSCN-IM is likely to meet next week to decide on whether or not to resume talks. This meeting comes, in the wake of a phone call that interlocutor A.K. Mishra made to NSCN-IM General Secretary Twingalang Muiva. But sources are telling us that the meeting could take place as early as on Monday. And the chances that NSCN-IM will agree to resume talks also looks very, very bright. So now the breaking story at this point is that the NSCN-IM is going to have a meeting next week, early next week. Sources are saying that meeting could take place as early as on Monday. And the group is most likely to accept A.K. Mishra, the peace interlocutor's fresh invitation for resumption of dialogue. So this development comes in the wake of a lot of pressure mounted or appeals to the NSCN-IM by the core committee, by the civil society and others to continue with the dialogue process and take the Naga peace to its logical conclusion in the form of signing an acceptable solution, signing an agreement for an acceptable and honorable solution. In fact, it was the NSCN-IM that began the peace talks 25 years ago. To be precise, it was in 1997 that the NSCN-IM, after talks with Government of India's emissaries across the world in various international capitals, the NSCN-IM decided to accept the Government of India's offer for talks. It began with a ceasefire agreement signed by both sides in July 1997, and the talks started from the 1st of August 1997. So this is exactly 25 years since the NSC and IM began talks. And now, after about 80 to 100 rounds of talk between the NSC and IM and the government of India, the framework agreement was signed. And after that, there was a fresh hiccup because the NSC and IM decided that there cannot be any solution without its core demand of a flag and constitution for the Nagas being considered by the government of India. That was the cause of the latest stalemate, following which the core committee, the parliamentary committee on Naga political issue, as well as the civil society groups, they have urged upon the NSC and IM to resume talks, and that led the interlocutor A.K. Mishra to extend an invitation for resumption of dialogue. That was early last week. And now, following this, the NSC and IM is going to have its meeting most likely on Monday or early next week to decide on the invitation. And the sources are telling us that in all probability, the NSC and IM will accept the invitation and continue the dialogue.
Now, Wasbi, the NSC and IM has once again made it clear that the talks never officially ended on the 31st of October 2019. So the resumption of talks is indeed a much awaited thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Unlike the NNPG that had accepted that the talks have come to an end on the 31st of October 2019 and saying that they are ready to sign on the dotted lines, that was not the case of the NSC and IM. In fact, only recently the NSC and IM had issued a statement where they made clear that the talks never ended on the 31st of October 2019 and that there was no such official statement by anyone in the government of India that the Naga peace issue, dialogue on the Naga peace issue had come to an end. And thereafter, the issue of the flag and constitution that dominated the NSC and IM's discourse, they said that there cannot be a solution without a separate flag and constitution being granted to the Nagas. And that is the sore point. That has been the sore point, following which the NSCM on 31st May they held an emergency National Assembly session attended by about 2,000 of its leaders and members, and they had adopted a formal resolution saying that there can be no solution without a flag and constitution, leading to a very, very serious deadlock as far as the dialogue process is concerned. So this fresh invitation for talks comes in this backdrop, and that is the reason why the NSC and IM is holding its meeting next week to take a call on the invitation. And as we have been saying, the NSC and IM is likely to accept the invitation and resume the dialogue.
Right, Wasbir Hussain, thank you very much for joining us this evening and bringing us all of those latest details. All right, shifting focus now. The presidential polls has exposed the complete divide in opposition ranks from Assam to Madhya Pradesh. As many as 126 opposition MLAs and 17 opposition MPs cross-voted in favor of the NDA presidential candidate. Of these, 22 MLAs who cross-voted are from Assam. Now, of the total 124 MLAs that voted for the presidential polls in the state, 104 backed the NDA candidate Draupadi Murmu, while only 20 voted for opposition candidate Yashwant Sinha. The results show that as many as 22 opposition MLAs cross-voted in favor of Draupadi Murmu. So who are these 22 MLAs and which party do they belong to? Well, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma has claimed that of the 22, around 15 to 16 are from the Congress, while a couple or more of AIUDF MLAs also voted in favor of Draupadi Murmu. The Congress has a total of 24 MLAs in the Assam Legislative Assembly, while the AIUDF has 15, which means that close to 70% of the Congress MLAs may have voted in favor of Murmu. So this comes as a major embarrassment for the Congress, especially after the party accorded a grand welcome to Yashwant Sinha in Guwahati just ahead of the presidential elections. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma, meanwhile, has termed the cross-voting as unanimous support for the NDA presidential candidate Draupadi Murmu.
126 জন বিধায়ক আছে তাৰে দুজন বিধায়কে ভোটদান কৰা নাছিল আৰু 124টা ভোট ৰাষ্ট্ৰপতি পদৰ প্ৰাৰ্থীৰ বাবে দিয়া হৈছিল তাৰ ভিতৰত দ্ৰৌপদী মুৰ্মু ডাঙৰীয়ানীয়ে 104টা ভোট লাভ কৰে আৰু যশৱন্ত সিনহা ডাঙৰীয়াই 20টা ভোট লাভ কৰে মই ভাবো যে ইয়ে দ্ৰৌপদী মুৰ্মুৰ প্ৰতি অসমৰ ৰাইজৰ অকুণ্ঠ সমৰ্থনক খুচাইছে আৰু অসমৰ ৰাইজৰ এক প্ৰকাৰ ক'ব গ'লে নিজৰ প্ৰাৰ্থী হিচাপে অসমৰ ৰাইজে দ্ৰৌপদী মুৰ্মু ডাঙৰীয়ানীক গ্ৰহণ কৰিছে। মই ভাৰতৰ পৰৱৰ্তী ৰাষ্ট্ৰপতি হিচাপে দ্ৰৌপদী মুৰ্মু ডাঙৰীয়ানীক অভিনন্দন জনাইছোঁ আৰু তেখেতৰ কাৰ্যকালত দেশৰ গৰিমা আৰু বৃদ্ধি হওক তাৰ বাবে কামনা কৰিছোঁ। মই যিমান দূৰ জানো আমি 22টা ভোট এক্সট্ৰা পাইছোঁ। 4জন প্ৰায় সেই ভোটৰ 15-16টা ভোট আমি কংগ্ৰেছৰ পৰা পাইছোঁ। 15-16টা ভোট কংগ্ৰেছৰ পৰা আহিছে। 15-16 ভোট কংগ্ৰেছৰ পৰা আহিছে। এইকাৰণে আহিছে যে যিবিলাক সমষ্টিত আদিবাসী আৰু বাগানৰ ভোট আছে তেওঁলোকৰ এটা মানসিকতাত আছিলে যে এইবাৰ আমি দ্ৰৌপদী মুৰ্মুক ভোট দিব লাগে আৰু বাকী 2-4টা ভোট UDFৰ পৰা ইণ্ডিপেণ্ডেণ্টো আছে, আন দলো আছে, কিন্তু মই জানাত 15-16টা ভোট কংগ্ৰেছৰ পৰা আহিছে। এইটো মই বিভাজন বুলি নাভাবো। ৰাষ্ট্ৰপতি পদৰ প্ৰাৰ্থী বা ৰাষ্ট্ৰপতিৰ ভোট বিবেকৰ জৰিয়তে হয় আৰু সেইকাৰণে মই ভবা নাই ই বিভাজন, বিবেকৰ মতে পৰিচালিত হৈ ভোট দিছে।
And as already mentioned, it's not just Assam. A sizable number of MLAs from across state assemblies cross-voted in favor of a president-elect Draupadi Murmu, defying their party's stated support to the opposition candidate. BJP sources said that around 126 MLAs from different assemblies cross-voted in her support. Counting of votes also suggests that Draupadi Murmu was the beneficiary of cross-voting from as many as 17 MPs. Apart from Assam, Jharkhand and Madhya Pradesh assemblies also witnessed a significant number of opposition MLAs voting for the BJP-led National Democratic Alliance's candidate. Around 20 in Madhya Pradesh assembly may have cross-voted in favor of Murmu, reports suggest. 6 opposition MLAs, each from Bihar and Chhattisgarh, 4 from Goa and 10 from Gujarat, may also have voted in favor of Murmu. Draupadi Murmu's tribal background appears to have drawn support from opposition MLAs from Jharkhand as well, where the ruling Jharkhand Mukti Morcha had already announced support to her. Said to be India's first tribal and also the youngest president, Draupadi Murmu received maximum number of votes from Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra assemblies, while Yashwant Sinha got his largest share of support from West Bengal. All MLAs from Andhra Pradesh, where the ruling YSR Congress as well as the opposition TDP had pledged support to Murmu, voted in favor of her. And meanwhile, the Congress seems to be short of points of defense when it comes to explaining the numbers. CLP leader Debabrata Saikia shifted the entire blame over cross-voting by MLAs to the ruling BJP. Listen in.
It is very unfortunate that in spite of the possibility of getting 37 votes, the opposition candidate in presidential elections in Assam got only 20 votes. And we Congress had 24 members. So it is apparent that at least 4 of our colleagues did not vote. And it may be more if the other parties claim that they have voted for the opposition candidate, then it may be 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know the number, and it is a secret ballot. But it is very unfortunate. Thus, ruling party, Bharatiya Janata Party, is responsible for such kind of dirty politics, and we condemn the policy of the BJP to destroy opposition unity.
Meanwhile, the AIUDF called out the Congress out for its alleged double standards from the day of notification for the presidential elections.
यूडीएफ तो क्रॉस वोट नहीं किया है, ये पहले से मैंने क्लियर कर दिया। जिस दिन नोटिफिकेशन हुआ इस दिन भूपेन बोरा डांगोरिया ने क्या बोला, यूडीएफ वोट नहीं करेगा। फर्स्ट डे कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट, असम कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट यूनिटी तोड़ने का काम शुरू किया एज पर बीजेपी इंस्ट्रक्शन। चीफ मिनिस्टर ने जो स्टेटमेंट दिया था, जो कांग्रेस का सीएलपी लीडर, अपोजिशन लीडर जो है देवव्रत सैकिया जी, इन्होंने बीजेपी कैंडिडेट को वोट करेगा। इलेक्शन का दिन तक कांग्रेस का सीएलपी लीडर देवव्रत सैकिया जी ने एक दिन भी नहीं बोला कि चीफ मिनिस्टर ने गलत बोला है, हम वोट नहीं करेंगे, ये नहीं बोला है। इलेक्शन से पहले कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट भूपेन बोरा जी ने असेंबली का अंदर में प्रेसिडेंशियल इलेक्शन के लिए एक मीटिंग किया था जिसमें 3 एमएलए था और बाकी सारा डिस्ट्रिक्ट कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट प्रेजेंट था। जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट कोई वोटर नहीं है, तो इसका बाद अगर कोई बोलेगा कि कांग्रेस ने सारा वोट नहीं किया तो ये गलत होगा। कांग्रेस का हर जगह से क्रॉस वोटिंग का खबर आ रहा है और असम से हाईएस्ट क्रॉस वोटिंग कांग्रेस ने किया है बीजेपी का पक्ष में।
And meanwhile, Assam Congress chief Bhupen Bora has said that the Congress can no longer deny that at least 4 party MLAs have indeed cross-voted. Bora said that the party's all efforts will be made to identify the quote-unquote traitors who have betrayed the party.
আসল সমীক্ষাটোতো সবেই জানে। মই দলৰ সভাপতি হিচাপে যেটো অনুভৱ কৰিছো যে আমি 26টা ভোট পাবলগীয়া আছিল, 20টা ভোট পাইছে, তাৰে 24টা ভোট আমাৰ নিজৰ দলৰ আছিল। আমাৰ যদি নিজৰকেইটা আমি ঠিকমতে দিলোহেঁতেন তেতিয়া 24 হয়। গতিকে সেই 4টাৰ পৰাতো আমি মুক্তি নাপাওঁ। এতিয়া 4জনক বিচাৰি নুলিয়ালৈকে আমি শান্ত নহওঁ আৰু 4জনক বিচাৰি আমি উলিয়াই ৰাইজৰ আদালতলৈ আগবঢ়াই দিম। আপুনি গাদ্দাৰ বুলি কয়, যি বিশেষণেৰে বিশেষিত নকৰক, কংগ্ৰেছৰ পৰা যে ক্ৰছ ভোটিং হৈছে এই কথাটো এতিয়া লোকঢাক হৈ থকা কংগ্ৰেছৰ নিয়ন্ত্ৰণ নাই। যদি সব দুখ আমি লোকৰ গাত জাপি দিওঁ, গোটেই দুখবিলাক যদি লোকৰ গাত জাপি দিবলৈ আমি দল হিচাপে চেষ্টা কৰোঁ, তেতিয়াও আমি মানি ল'ব লাগিব যে 4জনেতো ক্ৰছ ভোটিং কৰিছে। আমি যদি খন্তেক সময়ৰ কাৰণে কওঁ যে বাকী দুখ সব লোকৰ, তেতিয়াও 4জন বিশ্বাসঘাতক কংগ্ৰেছত আছে। যে যদি কংগ্ৰেছৰ গোটেই কেইজন বিধায়কে ভোট দিলেহেঁতেন তেতিয়াহ'লে আমাৰ বিৰোধীৰ সন্মিলিত প্ৰাৰ্থীজনে 24টা ভোট পালেহেঁতেন। আৰু ৰাষ্ট্ৰপতি নিৰ্বাচনত হুইপ নাই। হুইপ নথকাৰ কাৰণে যদি কোনোবা এজন কংগ্ৰেছী বিধায়কো কয় যে মই বিবেকৰ তাৰণাত, বিবেকৰ নিৰ্দেশত মই দ্ৰৌপদী মুৰ্মু ডাঙৰীয়াক ভোট দিছোঁ, কথাটো বেলেগ হ'ল। তেওঁক ৰাইজে বেলেগ ধৰণে ল'লেহেঁতেন। কিন্তু শৰীৰে সতি শৰীৰটো এফালে ৰাখিছে আৰু ভোটটো সিফালে দিছে, এইটোতো গ্ৰহণযোগ্য হ'ব নোৱাৰে। চিনাক্ত হৈছে নেকি? চিনাক্ত কৰিম আৰু কৰিব পাৰিম। আপোনালোকৰ দলৰ নিয়ন্ত্ৰণ নাই? দলৰ নিয়ন্ত্ৰণ কেতিয়াবা কেতিয়াবাতো আপুনি চলাই থকা গাড়ীখনো এক্সিডেণ্ট হয়। এদিন আপুনি চলাই থকা গাড়ীখনো এক্সিডেণ্ট হয়।
And meanwhile, at least one TMC MLA has also cross-voted in favor of NDA presidential candidate in Meghalaya. A total of 56 MLAs had cast their votes, out of which Murmu secured 47, while Yashwant Sinha got just 8. The strength of the MDA alliance, including the 5 Congress MLAs, stands at 48. And of this, 2 MLAs did not attend the voting, which left the MDA with 46 MLAs. Murmu, however, still secured 47 votes. Yes, indeed, one TMC MLA has also reportedly cross-voted for the NDA presidential candidate in Meghalaya. A total of 56 MLAs had cast their votes, out of which Murmu secured 47, while Yashwant Sinha secured 8. The strength of the MDA alliance, including the 5 Congress MLAs, stands at 48. And of this, 2 MLAs did not attend the voting, which left the MDA with 46 MLAs. However, Murmu still managed to secure 47 votes. And meanwhile, Draupadi Murmu's presidential election victory was also celebrated with much vigor and enthusiasm in Sikkim. A victory procession was carried out today from the district collector's office till Mangan town. Cultural Minister Samdug Lepcha, Forest Minister Karma Lode Bhutia, chairpersons, councillors and people from all walks of life waved the tricolour as they participated in the rally with poster cards while performing traditional dances. Take a look.
अनि गाडीहरु विशेष तपाईलाई यस्तो पाराले हामीले यो गाडीको पार्किङ यसरी मिलाएको छ। विशेष यो लाचेन मङ्गनपट्टि जाने है उपो जाने गाडीहरु कर्मलोडी भुटियाजु माननीय HCC.
Well, it's not just in Sikkim. Tribal communities in Manipur as well celebrated Draupadi Murmu's victory in style. Take a look. All right, on to another big story now. The Indian Air Force will join the search operations to trace the 19 laborers from Assam who have gone missing in Arunachal Pradesh. And this exclusive information was revealed to Northeast Live by none other than Kurunkume DC Benya Nigi. The Kurunkume DC said that the Indian Air Force choppers will also be pressed into service. Meanwhile, as many as 35 STRF personnel, along with locals, are already engaged in the search and rescue operations. But let's listen in now to the exclusive information provided by the Kurunkume DC to our correspondent, Ripunjoy Das.
We are now being joined with the Deputy Commissioner of Kurunkume District, Mr. Nighe Bengia. Sir, welcome to Northeast Live once again. Sir, has there been any update from the Indian Air Force? Are they joining the search and rescue mission?
Just we have discussed with our Secretary Civil Aviation also, and as per his statement, this IAF has already approved for providing of this IAF helicopter.
Okay.
So now they are planning at Shillong when the helicopter should be sent to Arunachal Pradesh, that is Taming. So I think as per statement of our respected Secretary Sir, the helicopter survey rescue mission will be materialized today itself or for tomorrow.
And sir, on ground, the SP of the district has left for the...
On ground, may already on ground. There are 25 personnel of SDRF team. And along with them, our local rescue teams are there on the ground. And Amara SP Kurunkume district, he has left early in this morning for Daming, and he will also supervise the rescue team.
Sir, has there been any response from the NDRF?
No, NDRF, we have not received any information from NDRF. We have already send the requisition. The requisition also, I think you have already got that copy also. We have already, but yet we have not getting any information from NDRF.
Sir, any information from local villagers of any whereabouts? Because
no.
it is more than 2 weeks now.
Yeah. It is more than 2 weeks now, but no information, no clue from the villagers also. And that is, and another is that there is the timing, there is no network services there, mobile service is not there. So time to time, from hour to hour, information to get information is also very hurdle for us, very impossible problem for us also. So also, लेकिन latest में कोई ऐसा no fresh information is there.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
It's time for a short break now. More news and updates to follow on at the other side. Stay tuned.
A university is much more than just a place to get your education. It not only helps you build your career, but also your personality and mindset. At Assam Royal Global University, you will get the most suitable environment to gain knowledge and also grow as a person. The university has the best infrastructure with all the required facilities and best quality equipment for any kind of educational need.
বাইদেউ এই পিম্পলৰ চান্স কিনো এবাৰ ওলালে বাৰে বাৰে ওলাব স্কিন হেলদি না ৰাখো যদি বাইদেউ প্ৰথম পিম্পল তাতে আকৌ সোপ তেন্তেটো বাৰে বাৰে ওলাব সোপ বাদে আৰু কি আছে এইটো আছে নহয় হিমালয় পিউৰিফাইং নিম ফেস ওয়াশ পিছে ইয়াৰ চান্স কিনো মুখৰ স্কিন এই ফুলপাহৰ দৰে সোপি স্কিন ড্যামেজ কৰিব পাৰে যাৰ ফলত পিম্পলছ বাৰে বাৰে ওলাব পাৰে হিমালয় পিউৰিফাইং নিম ফেস ওয়াশ হ'ল সোপ ফ্ৰী ই পিম্পলছ বাৰে বাৰে ওলোৱাত বাধা দিয়ে
ই ক্লিনিক্যালি প্ৰভেন ইয়াত আছে নিম আৰু হালধিৰ গুণ ই পিম্পলছ আঁতৰাই আৰু স্কিন কৰি তোলে হেলদি
বাইদেউ মানি ললি বাইৰক নহয় চায়েন্সক
পিম্পলৰ বাবে সোপৰ নহয় সায়েন্সৰ কথা শুনা হিমালয়া পিউৰিফাইং নিম ফেচ ৱাছ হিমালয়া সুখেৰে থাকক সমৃদ্ধিৰে থাকক
দেশৰ সকলো আধুনিক চিকিৎসালয়ৰ পৰা এটা মাত উঠিছে
আভাৰ
বিশ্বমানৰ শিক্ষানুষ্ঠানসমূহে মাত্ৰ এটা বাৰ্তা প্ৰদান কৰিছে
থেংক ইউ
ভাৰতৰ সকলো উদীয়মান উদ্যোগীয়ে এক কণ্ঠত কৈছে
ধন্যবাদ
প্ৰগতিৰে উজ্বলি থকা গাঁওবোৰে মাত্ৰ এটা কথা কৈছে
ধন্যবাদ
देश का ईमानदार टैक्स पेयर राष्ट्र निर्माण में बहुत बड़ी भूमिका निभाता है
এই কৃতজ্ঞতা আপোনাৰ বাবে সময়মতে আপোনাৰ কৰ পৰিশোধ কৰাৰ বাবে যি দেশত এক ভৌতিক আৰু সামাজিক আন্তঃগাঁথনি উন্নত কৰাত সহায় কৰিছে 31 জুলাই 2022ৰ ভিতৰত আপোনাৰ আয়কৰ ৰিটাৰ্ণ দাখিল কৰক যাতে আপুনিও ইয়াৰ পৰা লাভান্বিত হ'ব পাৰে যিসকল লোক আৰু প্ৰতিষ্ঠানৰ একাউণ্ট কৰ অডিটৰ বাবে দায়বদ্ধ নহয় তেওঁলোকৰ বাবে 31 জুলাই 2022ৰ ভিতৰত তেওঁলোকৰ ৰিটাৰ্ণ দাখিল কৰাটো বাধ্যতামূলক আপোনাৰ ৰিটাৰ্ণ দাখিল কৰিবলৈ www.incometax.gov.in ত লগ অন কৰক আয়কৰ বিভাগৰ দ্বাৰা জনহিতাৰ্থে প্ৰচাৰিত
Welcome back, viewers, and on to the big story from Arunachal Pradesh. The bodies of 4 Assam youth who had gone missing in the frontier state have been recovered. As per reports, the 4 youths lost their way in heavy fog and inclement weather when they were out sightseeing at the Sesa Dirang Road. The deceased have been identified as Vedanta Bormehela and Noyan Bachmatari from Nogao, Sanjeev Das from Tezpur, and Hirak Boro from Sonapur. The vehicle in which the 4 youths were traveling has also been recovered from Nesifu in a dilapidated condition. A team of 12 NDRF personnel recovered the bodies after conducting extensive search operations in the area. So that is, of course, the big development coming in from Arunachal Pradesh at this point in time. The bodies of 4 Assam youth who had gone missing in the state have been recovered. As per reports, the 4 youths had lost their way in heavy fog and inclement weather when they were out sightseeing at the Sesa Dirang Road. The deceased have been identified as Vedanta Bormehela and Noyan Basmutari from Nogao, Sanjeev Das from Tezpur, and Hirak Boro from Sonapur. The vehicles in which the 4 youths were traveling has also been recovered from Nesifu in a dilapidated condition. Meanwhile, a team of 12 NDRF personnel recovered the bodies after conducting extensive search operations in the area. And on to another top story at this hour. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah today. During the deliberations, the Assam Chief Minister briefed the top leaders about the situation in the aftermath of the devastating floods and developments pertaining to the border talks with Arunachal Pradesh, besides a host of other issues. And we have the first reactions from Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma, who said that unnecessary controversy has been created as far as the government's handling of the flood situation is concerned. Chief Minister Sharma said that his government has left no stone unturned to deal with the crisis. Listening.
মই এটাই কথা কওঁ যে মুখ্যমন্ত্ৰী হিচাপে অসুবিধাটো মইহে পাম এতিয়ালৈকে মই অসুবিধা পোৱা নাই মই অসুবিধা পালে আপোনালোকক জনাম যে মই কষ্ট পাইছো বুলি যদি মই কষ্ট পোৱা নাই ৰান্ধনী খালত যদি ভাত বনাব শাক সবজি ভাত ডালি গুটেইখিনি আছে ৰান্ধনীৰ কষ্ট হোৱা নাই তেলে আমি কিয় কৈ থাকিব লাগে যেতিয়া ৰান্ধনীৰ কষ্ট হ'ব ৰান্ধনীয়ে মালিকক ক'ব যে মোৰ বস্তু নাই বুলি গতিকে এইটো এটা অনাহকত বানপানী হলেই এইটো এটা বিতৰ্ক আৰম্ভ হৈ যায় আৰু বানপানীৰ পৰা বস্তুটো সেইফাললৈকে গুচি যায় এইটো এটা অসমত টেমপ্লেট আছে এই টেমপ্লেটটোৰ পৰা আমি আঁতৰিব লাগে বহুত বস্তু অসমত শেষ হৈছে এইটো বিতৰ্কৰ পৰা শেষ হৈ যাব লাগে যেতিয়া চৰকাৰে যদি বান বনাব নোৱাৰে ৰাস্তা বনাব নোৱাৰে বান সাহায্য দিব নোৱাৰে তেতিয়াহে কোনোবাই প্ৰশ্ন কৰিব যে দিল্লীয়ে টকা দিয়া নাই নেকি বা দিছপুৰৰ টকা নাই নেকি এতিয়া যেটো আমি গুটেইখিনি কৰি আছো আৰু ইমান ধুনিয়াকৈ কৰি আছো তাত এইবিলাক বিতৰ্কৰ কি মিনিং আছে প্ৰথমবাৰৰ বাবে অসমৰ মানুহে বানপানীত ইমান ভালকৈ সাহায্য পাইছে আজিৰ পৰা মন্ত্ৰীসকল ফিল্ডত আছে অহা 7 দিন ঘৰ ভাঙা ঘৰ ধ্বংস হোৱা লিষ্ট বনাই আনিব 10 আগষ্ট 12 আগষ্টত আমি মুকলি কৰি দিম পুঁজি নাথাকিলে চৰকাৰে কেন্দ্ৰীয় চৰকাৰৰ লগত কথা পাতিব। আজি আমাৰ হাতত পুঁজি আছে, কোনো অসুবিধা হোৱা নাই, ধুনীয়াকৈ কাম চলি আছে। এইটো এটা অনাহকত বিতৰ্ক এটা প্ৰত্যেকবাৰে কৰা হয় আৰু মোক এই বিতৰ্কটোৰ অংশীদাৰ কৰি ল'ব নালাগে।
And on to another big story from Assam. Train services between Guwahati and Silchar has resumed from today after over a month. The route, which passes through Haflong, was badly damaged by landslides which occurred on the 15th of May. Despite facing several challenges, the railway authorities raced against time to restore connectivity. It needs to be mentioned here that people from Tripura, Mizoram, along with entire South Assam, had been suffering a lot after the landslides disrupted rail connectivity. So, of course, that is a big development coming in at this point in time. Train services between Guwahati and Silchar have resumed from today after over a month. The route, which passes through Haflong, was badly damaged by landslides which occurred on the 15th of May. And despite facing several challenges, the railway authorities raced against time to restore connectivity. It needs to be mentioned here that people from Tripura, Mizoram, along with the entire South Assam, had been suffering after landslides disrupted rail connectivity. Our colleague Swadip Samsa brings us this detailed report. Take a look.
बहुत दिन के बाद ट्रेन तो खुल दिया गया है, क्या कहेंगे?
ठीक है, बहुत दिन में प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है हम लोग, अभी ट्रेन खोल दिया, अच्छा हुआ।
अच्छा,
अभी 5 दिन हम लोग जाने कर रहे हैं।
अच्छा,
हाँ,
कितना 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 दिन बाद?
मोर देन 2 महीना 8 दिन के बाद आज।
2 महीना 8 दिन
हाँ,
बाद।
नॉर्मल।
मतलब वैसे तो सिलचर और गुवाहाटी तो और सिलचर और हाफलॉन्ग तो चला दिया गया था।
हाँ, लेकिन आज मतलब गुवाहाटी सिलचर आज
पहली बार
कनेक्टिंग।
बड़ा ट्रेन कल से चलेगा।
आज तो शायद दूसरा दिन भी चलेगा होगा।
पिछले मई महीने में डिजास्टर हुआ है डिमा हासाओं में बाढ़ के कारण पूरे ये न्यू हाफलॉन्ग रेलवे स्टेशन भी पूरी अपनी जपेट में आ गया था और इस वक्त हम दिखा रहा है कि न्यू हाफलॉन्ग स्टेशन को प्लस जब यही स्टेशन था जो एक पूरी डिब्रेस में फंस गया था, पूरे मलबे से भर गया था, यही स्टेशन था और इसी न्यू हाफलॉन्ग स्टेशन में आज फिर से सिलचर से गुवाहाटी की ओर जाने वाला ट्रेन न्यू हाफलॉन्ग स्टेशन में पहुंच गया है। लगभग 2 महीने बाद ये ट्रेन जो है फिर से सिलचर से गुवाहाटी तक का जो है सफर जो है फिर से शुरू होने जा रहा है। गुवाहाटी से जुड़ने से फिर से यहाँ का लोगों के लिए और साथ में नाइबरिंग बराक-बिली से लेकर त्रिपुरा, अगरतला तमाम जो स्टेट है उन सभी के लिए भी फायदेमंद होगा। कैमरा पर्सन हेमवेंद्र के साथ मैं स्वदेव समसा, नॉर्थ ईस्ट लाइव, हाफलॉन्ग।
And meanwhile, with the restoration of the arterial Haflong Lanka Road, people solely dependent on this route are a relief lot. The Haflong Lanka Road is the lifeline of the people living in hundreds of villages of Hadingma, Gunjung, Dihangi, Hamri, and Diungbra constituencies of NC Hills Autonomous Council of Assam's Dima Hasao district. During the period of floods and landslides this year, the road was badly damaged at several locations and had hit the communication scenario in the region. However, now with the road completely repaired, locals are heaving a huge sigh of relief.
डिमा हासाओं में बहुत सारा जगह में भूस्खलन हो गया था और भूस्खलन की वजह से रास्ता पूरी कट ऑफ हो गया था। ठीक वैसा ही लंका हाफलॉन्ग रोड भी यहाँ पर एक कट ऑफ हो गया था और ठीक आज लगभग 2 महीने बाद यहाँ का डिमा हासाओं का हाफलॉन्ग लंका रोड फिर से रिस्टोर हो गया है और ये रिस्टोर होने के बाद में यहाँ पर आजकल गाड़ी आना जाना भी हो रहा है।
आज मैं 1 महीना 1.5 महीना के बाद मैं आज वापस आ रहा हूँ हाफलॉन्ग के लिए। तो रास्ता तो अभी फिलहाल तो सही है। 1 महीना पहले आया था, हम लोग इधर में फंस गया था गाड़ी। कुछ यहाँ का पीडब्ल्यूडी डिपार्टमेंट लोग का या कुछ सरकार का इधर में कुछ जेसीबी होगा, वो जेसीबी से हम लोग को मदद किया। फिर हम लोग को बाहर निकल के हम लोग हाफलॉन्ग तक तो नहीं जा पाया, फिर इधर से हम लोग वापस चला गया था।
आज फिर आ रहा है।
आज अब फिर वापस आ रहा है। आज देखा रास्ता भी लगभग अच्छा ही हो गया, पहले जैसा था उसका जस्ट 90% 95% तो पहले के जैसा ही हो गया। अभी कुछ 5% बाकी है पहले के लिए।
क्या-क्या तकलीफें हुआ था वैसे यहाँ पर जब आपका गाड़ी जब बंद हुआ था, क्या-क्या तकलीफें हुआ था?
तकलीफ तो बहुत हुआ था। देखिए हम लोग रिलायंस जियो से आया था, बाद में सर्वे करने के लिए आता है, बाद में बीच में फंस जाता है, गाड़ी नहीं जा पाता, ना पीछे ना आगे, चाका वगैरह कुछ नहीं हिलता था। बाद में हम लोग कहीं-कहीं तो 2-2 3-3 घंटा इधर में हम लोग बैठता था। डिमा हासाओं का जितना भी कार्यकर्ता सरकार लोग है और असम का मिनिस्टर लोग ने भी बहुत कुछ हेल्प किया इस रास्ता को कंप्लीट करने में और मैं उन सब लोगों को मैं बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा क्योंकि आम पब्लिक जनताओं को बहुत सुविधा मिला इस रास्ता के कारण से क्योंकि जहाँ तक मुझको पता है कि हाफलॉन्ग में आने के लिए सिर्फ और सिर्फ यही एक रास्ता है मेन हाफलंग तक पहुंचने के लिए। हाँ, गांव वाले लोग के लिए भी, और कहीं आना जाना हो कि मेन ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के लिए भी यही एक रास्ता है, मेन मेजर रास्ता है। अगर ये बहुत बिजी रास्ता है और बीच में कुछ 1-2 महीना वो गैप हो गया था, दिमा हसाओ का गवर्नमेंट ने भी 1 मंथ में इतना रिकवर कर लिया। 2 महीना लगभग लग गया।
जी बिल्कुल, हम वही कहना चाहेंगे, यहाँ पर भी पूरी तरह से यह ज़मीन खिसक गया था और कैमरामैन हेमू दिखा रहा है कि यहाँ का जो ज़मीन जो है पूरी तरह से खिसक गया था और खिसकने के सिंकिंग हो जाने की वजह से यहाँ पर पूरी तरह से गाड़ी जो है आना-जाना पूरा बंद हो गया था और लगभग 2 महीने बाद हम बोल सकते हैं कि 2 महीने बाद यहाँ पर दिमा हासाओ के लिए, दिमा हासाओ का जनता के लिए, दिमा हासाओ का लोगों के लिए आने-जाने का जो है सुविधा होने जा रहा है और यहाँ पर फिर से ये रास्ता जो है खोल दिया गया है।
So indeed, a huge sigh of relief for the people in Dima Hasao as the restoration of the arterial half-long Lanka road is now complete, which is of course the people's lifeline in the region. The half-long Lanka road is the lifeline of the people in this region, as hundreds of villages like Hadingma, Gunjung, Dihangi, Hamri and the Yungbra constituencies of NC Hills Autonomous Council of Assam's Dima Hasao district rely on this very road for their daily commutes. And during the period of floods and landslides this year, the road was badly damaged at several locations, which had hit the communication scenario in the region. However, with the completion of the repairing of the road, the locals are heaving a big, big sigh of relief. And of course, let's not forget, viewers, how devastating the floods were in Assam this year. And of course, Dima Hasao district being one of the worst affected due to the floods and landslides. All right, on to some other news now. A specially abled boy from Assam has presented a painting to Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. Abhijit Gatani, who hails from Silchar, presented the painting to Prime Minister Modi while he was accompanied by Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma and his mother. Abhijit presented the painting to Prime Minister Modi at his residence in New Delhi. Chief Minister Sharma played a pivotal role in ensuring that Abhijit gets to meet Prime Minister Modi in person. Noteworthy here is that the Assam Chief Minister had himself written a letter to Prime Minister Modi talking about the young artist and his talent. All right, we have a big breaking news coming in from Mizoram at the minute, viewers. The state's lone BJP MLA, Dr. Buddhadhan Chakma, and CEM of Chakma Autonomous District Council, Buddha Leela Chakma, were amongst the 13 people convicted by the court of the Special Judge Prevention of Corruption Act in a graft case. Dr. B.D. Chakma is the first legislator convicted in a graft case in the history of Mizoram, viewers. Others convicted by the Special Judge Vanlal Mauya include 2 executive members and 2 sitting members of the district council, while 3 former CEMs and the rest of them were former EMs. The pronouncement of these sentences has been reserved for Monday, and while delivering the conviction order, the special judge said the state governor gave the prosecution sanction, while the prosecution sanction of the speaker was not sought, as a plethora of judgments had pronounced that sanction of the speaker is not necessary to convict a legislator. Dr. Chakma, the MLA, while coming out from the courtroom, told reporters that he would immediately appeal to the Guwahati High Court. The 13 have been accused of misappropriating funds to the tune of rupees 137.10 lakh, and the amount allocated for the development work was withdrawn as advance salaries. All right, to bring us all the latest updates on this big breaking news from Mizoram, I'm being joined now over the phone line by my colleague Isaac Zoram Sanga from Aizawl. Isaac, indeed a big breaking news coming in from your state at this point in time. The state's lone BJP MLA, I beg your pardon, Dr. Buddhadhan Chakma, and CEM of the Chakma Autonomous District Council, Buddha Leela Chakma, amongst the 13 people convicted by the special court in a graft case. And of course, the first time in your state's history that such a thing has taken place, isn't it? So what more details can you give us at this point in time? Isaac, over to you.
Yes, Rana. As you have rightly mentioned, that this is the first legislature convicted in a graft case in the history of Mizoram. That Dr. B.G. Chakma, and a lone BJP MLA in Mizoram, has been convicted in a graft case, and along with 12 others. So yes, as you have mentioned, that the total amount of money misappropriated was rupees 137.10 lakh, and it was collected. It was during this 2017 that the BG Chakma and another 12 has been involved in a graft case. So yes, today the court of special judge have convicted them and also informed they are also they are all belonging to the Chakma community, and also the others convicted by special judge Mr. Valaweng Moya have included the 2 executive members and the 2 sitting MLAs of the MDC and 3 former chief executive members of the Chakma Autonomous District Council. So these are all the people who are working for the community. So they are all involved in a graft case roundup.
Right, Isaac, thank you very much for joining us at this point in time and bringing us all of those latest details. So there you have it, viewers. A big breaking news coming in from Mizoram at this point in time. The state's lone BJP MLA, Dr. Buddhadhan Chakma, and the CM of Chakma Autonomous District Council, Buddha Leela Chakma, amongst the 13 people who were convicted by the court of the Special Judge Prevention of Corruption Act in a graft case. Let me also tell our viewers here, the Dr. B.D. Mishra is the first legislator to have been convicted in a graft case in the history of Mizoram. And others convicted by the special judge Van Lalan Mauya included 2 executive members and 2 sitting members of the district council, while 3 former CEMs and the rest of them were former EMs. The pronouncement, of course, of these sentences has been reserved for Monday. Yes, viewers, indeed, the big breaking news from Mizoram, the state's long BJP MLA Dr. Buddhadhan Chakma and CM of Chakma Autonomous District Council, Buddha Leela Chakma, were amongst the 13 people convicted by the court of the Special Judge Prevention of Corruption Act in a graft case. Dr. B.D. Chakma is the first legislator convicted in a graft case in the history of Mizoram. All right, shifting focus now. Nagaland BJP President and Minister Temjen Imna Along today hailed Draupadi Murmu's victory in the presidential elections. Talking to Northeast Live, Along expressed hope that the tribal populace will benefit from this. The Nagaland BJP President also lauded the UDA partners for their consensus on voting in favor of President-elect Draupadi Murmu.
You being a tribal from Nagaland and as well as holding the post of the tribal minister, what do you have to say on this victorious day?
I have already spoken in my presidential speech at today's program. It is not only about a nation going forward, but a nation going forward together with everybody. The visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, has made that thing done. Hopes have emerged. Out of 133 crore population, around only 12 crores are tribals. But today, on this 75th years of India's independence, we get to see under Modi ji's leadership a tribal to be the president of the greatest republic, democracy of the world, to be the supreme commander of the armed forces, a mother, a lady, in the form of Murmuji. So what more can it be a proud moment for a tribal, not only for me as a tribal minister of the state, but also for all the tribals of the nation, that today we are included in every aspect.
So, what are the prospects of Madam Murmu being a tribal leader and also becoming the president for the tribal people of the country, especially in the context of Nagas?
See one thing, tribal is a way of life. The thought process of a tribal connects beyond boundaries in this nation. We are in terms called Vanvasi or Adivasi. the people of the land. And she representing there, we hope and we know that she will bring us to the forefront in the policies that are being made by the government of India. We know that she will represent each and every tribal of this nation, not only for the tribals, but also the whole nation at large. And Modi ji has made the right choice. We are thankful to him.
All right, moving on now. As part of the nationwide agitation under AIRRBEA, employees of Tripura Gramin Bank gathered in front of the bank's headquarters at Agartala to demonstrate a protest against the central government's proposed plan to privatize all rural banks. The protesters also demanded for parity of wages and pension of rural banks with the nationalized banks. The mass protest is being organized under the banner of Joint Action Forum, consisting of members of the Tripura Gramin Bank Employees Association and the Tripura Gramin Bank Officers Union. The protesters viewed that recently the TGP chairman has proposed to launch the IPO or initial public offering to raise funds through sale of securities or shares to the public, which is considered as the first step towards privatization. On to the big national focus now. Kerala has reported India's third monkeypox case. That's right, viewers. A 35-year-old person who is a returnee from the UAE has become the third person to test positive for monkeypox in the nation as well as in Kerala. As per the Kerala Health Department, the person had arrived on the 6th of July and started showing symptoms of fever and spots from the 13th of July. Subsequently, the individual was admitted to the Manjeri Medical College and is currently undergoing treatment. The patient's condition is stable, and all those who were in close contact with the patient are also being closely monitored. And on that note, I'll leave you with some news from across the nation in our News Express. Thank you, and keep watching Northeast Live. Thank you. Celebrations broke out near Draupadi Murmu's home in Odisha's Rerangpur and across the country as she was declared the 15th President of India after the counting of votes on Thursday. This comes after she crossed the halfway mark after 3 rounds of voting. Throughout the day, music and firecrackers marked Draupadi Murmu's victory in the presidential elections. People across the country stepped out to celebrate her triumph and the historic moment of India getting its first tribal president. Folk dancers performed at the residence of Draupadi Murmu to celebrate her victory. Notably, Draupadi Murmu is the first tribal president of India. She was a former governor of Jharkhand and comes from the Santhal tribe. During the elections, she comfortably won the support of more than half the electorate of MPs and state legislators. BJP leaders led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi met Draupadi Murmu and congratulated her on her victory. BJP workers began celebrations across the country. Animal Husbandry Minister of Kerala, J. Chinturani, today informed that African swine fever has been reported at a farm in the Wayanad district of Kerala. So far, no official numbers of African swine fever have been confirmed. The disease was confirmed amongst pigs at a farm in the district after the samples went for testing in Pune was confirmed. Meanwhile, the officials of the Animal Husbandry Department are visiting and inspecting the farm. In early July, Uttarakhand had reported cases of African swine fever. It may be noted here that the African swine fever is a highly communicable disease with no vaccination available, and if infected, it causes fever, nausea, and diarrhea in pigs. In order to curtail the spread of the disease, the government has urged residents to avoid having pork. Earlier this month, the northeastern states of Assam, Mizoram, Sikkim, and Tripura also reported ASF. Both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are witnessing continuous adjournments since the monsoon session began without much productivity as opposition parties launched attacks at the centre over rising prices, GST on daily essentials, and misuse of central agencies. Notably, the opposition has accused the government of running away from a debate on key issues, which they claim shows the obstinacy of the Modi government. Today was the fifth successive day of the current session in which both the houses were adjourned minutes after assembling. It may be mentioned here that at least 7 adjournment motion notices on issues of unemployment and other issues have been given in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. With the opposition refusing to budge from their stand, the government on Wednesday said that it is ready for a debate in the parliament on price rise once Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman recovers from COVID-19. Notably, the monsoon session of the parliament commenced on the 18th of July and will continue till August 12th, and there will be 18 sittings during the session. Chief Minister of Gujarat Bhupendra Patel today launched the logo of the 36th National Games 2022 in Gandhinagar, along with the signing of the MOU between the Indian Olympic Association and Gujarat Olympic Association and the Government of Gujarat. It may be mentioned that the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel Statue of Unity and the Gir's Asiatic Lion can be seen in the logo of the National Games. Meanwhile, Minister of Sports, Government of Gujarat, Harsh Sanghavi, IOA Acting President Anil Khanna, Secretary General IOA Rajiv Mehta, and Gujarat Olympic Association President Devendra Singh Solanki were also present at the event. Notably, 36 states will be participating in the National Games 2022, which will take place from the 27th of September till the 10th of October in Gujarat. Hours after Gujarat Congress President Jagdish Thakur advocated the Gujarat Assembly election manifesto for the minority communities, members of the right-wing outfit Bajrang Dal reportedly attacked the Congress office in Gujarat's Ahmedabad and changed its name to Haj House. Bajrang Dal workers stuck posters on the building of the Congress state headquarters, Rajiv Gandhi Bhavan in Paldi, Gujarat early today, which read that the party office has been renamed as Haj House. In this regard, a sister organization of the Bajrang Dal, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad or VHP, said that the workers carried out the act to register their protest against Gujarat Congress President Jagdish Thakur's recent statement regarding minorities. Furthermore, some workers also placed Haj House stickers on the statue of late former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. On the other hand, Congress spokesperson of Gujarat, Manish Doshi, condemned the Bajrang Dal's attack on the party state unit headquarters, saying that these youth are disillusioned. He also accused the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party of sponsoring hooliganism. In a tragic and deeply concerning incident reported from Jharkhand, bodies of a female police personnel, a mother and a daughter, were found at their home at the Jamshedpur Police Staff Quarters and located in the East Singhbhum district early today. The dead cop has been identified as a 36-year-old Constable Sabita Hembram, who was posted in the office of the Senior Superintendent of Police in Jamshedpur. The police with the forensic team are on the spot and an investigation has been initiated into the triple murder case. According to the Jamshedpur police, Hembram, who was inducted into the police force on compensatory grounds, did not report for duty for the last couple of days. Meanwhile, the neighbors stated that they informed police after sensing a foul smell coming from the flat, following which SSP Prabhat Kumar rushed to the spot along with a team of officers. An investigation is underway and the bodies have been sent for post-mortem examination. The water levels of the Sardar Sarovar Narmada Dam has increased by 2 meters in the last 48 hours to 119.79 meters, with a steady inflow owing to heavy rainfall in the 38 rain gauge stations of the basin. While at present 46,957,000 cusecs of water has been received from upriver, also all the units of RBPH have been closed to increase the surface area. While one unit of CHPH is running, there is an outflow of 4,697,000 cusecs of water from the dam. Owing to heavy rainfall in the state and rainfall in the upstream catchment area of the Narmada Dam, the surface is continuously rising due to fall. Apart from this, 2.5 lakh cusecs of water was released in the river due to heavy rain upstream of Karajan Dam in Narmada district. The fields on the banks of the river were flooded and the extent of the damage was ascertained. The World Health Organization on Thursday reconvened the Monkeypox Emergency Committee to assess the public health implications of the evolving multi-country outbreak, as global cases passed 14,000, with 6 countries reporting their first cases last week. Notably, the committee first met last month but decided against declaring it as a public health emergency of international concern. During the meeting, WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus acknowledged his acute awareness that any decision regarding the possible determination involves the consideration of many factors with the ultimate goal of protecting public health. Tedros, during his opening remarks to committee members and advisors, cited that the committee has already helped delineate the dynamics of the outbreak. The Supreme Court today allowed the central government to continue providing security cover to Reliance Industries chairman Mukesh Ambani and his family in Mumbai. Notably, a bench of Chief Justice Vindhya N.V. Ramana and Justices Krishna Murari and Hima Kohli quashed the proceedings in the PIL pending before the Tripura High Court, challenging security to the Ambanis. The apex court, questioning the locus of the petitioner, said that there was no reason for proceedings to continue before the Tripura High Court, which is scrutinizing the need for the security. However, it noted that the family was paying costs of security provided by the government. A forest fire broke out in the Gandhi forest area in West Bengal's Murshidabad district today morning. After receiving reports, fire tenders were rushed to the spot to douse the fire. Further details are awaited, and it may be mentioned that earlier in May, a clothing shop was gutted by a fire in the Chandni Chowk area of West Bengal's Kolkata. An Indigo flight was grounded in Patna airport on Thursday night after a passenger claimed that he was carrying a bomb on board. The 6E2126 flight was grounded and all passengers were deboarded. Authorities said that they have detained the passenger at the airport. The passenger was identified as Rishi Chand Singh. He claimed that he was carrying a bomb, following which a bomb disposal squad was rushed in. However, airport security officials claimed that the passenger concerned is mentally unstable. In this regard, the Patna district magistrate said that the flight was grounded and a search was conducted inside the flight, but no bomb was discovered.
जाएंगे हम वहां जहां की हर खबर छुप जाती है और दिखाएंगे वो जो रहता है आपकी नजरों से उझल। पहुंचेंगे हम पूर्वोत्तर के हर कोने में
Naga political issues.
नॉर्थ ईस्ट की हर खबर से आपको कराएंगे रूबरू।
एक पूरा पहाड़ नीचे आके रास्ते में जो भी आया उसको दबाते चला गया।
नमस्कार, समाचार नॉर्थ ईस्ट में आपका स्वागत है। मैं हूं कविता, स्टूडियो में मैं हूं दुर्मेश,
मैं हूं रविंद्र चौहान,
मैं रश्मि प्रिया शेर, मैं नश्विता महल।
समाचार नॉर्थ ईस्ट हर शाम 6 बजे।
Build your dream at the Assam Royal Global University. Success is not an overnight phenomenon. You need to work hard and go through the grind every day to achieve what you want. Engineer, fashion designer, or someone working in the field of medical science, or the CEO of your own company, you can dream anything and make that happen here at the Assam Royal Global University.
This is Arjun, a BTech student at Lovely Professional University. I received one of the highest placement packages amongst all freshers in India with an amount of 63 lakhs. Looking back, studying at LPU has been one of my best decisions.
Think big. Lovely Professional University.
जाएंगे हम वहां जहां की हर खबर छुप जाती है और दिखाएंगे वो जो रहता है आपकी नजरों से उझल। पहुंचेंगे हम पूर्वोत्तर के हर कोने में।